How do we break the ice?
We introduce ourselves, no?
Yeah.
I hate introduction, but yeah, let's get started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, let's just start in the middle and go.
Oh,
All right.
Okay, we'll start
We
with
could start in the middle.
what's gonna. Am I allowed to ask actually? What's gonna go down besides?
Yeah. No, that will come. You'll
Okay.
find out.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Woo, yeah, we good.
We'll find out.
Okay. Cool.
Actually, even myself, I don't know where we're going, but I know we're going somewhere.
Alright.
So,
Okay.
okay. Well, I'm Bali Zulu.
Mm-hmm.
I am a writer. Yeah.
good. Yeah.
I am Jaden. I'm Jaden Tamani. I'm a singer. I'm a creative at its best description, and I am like to say, a businessman as well.
Good.
Of some sort, yeah.
Well, nice to meet you. I'm Boss. I know it's a funny name. So that's my name.
Real name or nickname?
Yeah, no, that's my name.
Real name.
Yeah, Boss.
Dude. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. And I'm just an average man.
Yeah.
I don't like tagging myself into a business. I do a bit of everything. I study, I do business. I also work for someone. But I just like to see myself as just a guy living.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because all that changes
All
throughout
the
time.
time. Yeah. True.
Yeah.
True.
So, well, first of all, thanks for coming. I don't even think you know what you're getting yourself involved into. And I love that because just for the sake of record, this is the first time we meet. We don't know
Yeah.
each other.
Yeah.
We have one friend in common, but really we don't know each other. So that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see if 2, 3 people, 4 people that don't know anything about each other, can sit down and discover something together.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to get at. The channel is called Mirror Mind. And the reason is because I feel like our minds are like a mirror to each other, right? You know yourself according to someone else. Now, say I start swearing at you guys here, you get angry, right? And that's you knowing yourself according to me, how you're interacting with people. So I want to be some sort of mirror, so that as we talk, you can now start discovering things. Not because I'm telling you who you are, but because you're actually looking at those things, you know. This is what's happening in me, and you're finding out about all the details, the subtleties of yourself. By the way, I'm French speaking. English is not my language. I'm learning, but I feel like I have just enough to communicate.
Yeah.
So the audience and you will have to be a little bit kind on me
No
when I get lost.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we
Today-
lose it also sometimes. English.
Yeah.
Okay, me personally, it just goes.
Even my own home languages, like African languages, 'cause we speak Swahili and so on. I'm starting to lose them because now I'm average everywhere. Average in English, average in French, average in Swahili.
Yeah.
But that's what you get in this new society. You know, you have to get a bit of everything to live through it. Today I wanted to talk about time. You know, time. Because we talk a lot about time. Let's say you got here a little bit late. So we are always playing with this thing called time without even realizing what really is time, in fact.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's a very interesting and deep topic. And we, most of the time, tend to neglect it. We don't really look at it.
Yeah.
And I want to go deep in it, and if we can find out really what time is and how it impacts us. Because as far as I'm concerned, I feel like time is the enemy of man. It's really, I hate time. I don't like time. I can't accept time because I've seen it for what it really is. So I want, maybe as we talk, not necessarily today, but you know, as you go through it yourself, maybe you'll discover what it is and how it impacts on you.
Yeah.
So what do you think? What is time? How do you perceive time, if I may ask?
Well, for me, time, I don't want to say, okay, time is, it's something we're trapped in. Not necessarily trapped in, but we were made within it.
Yeah.
Like it's something that is just around us, not necessarily around us in the physical sense, but we are trapped in it. We're given a beginning and an end, and this is the only space we can function in.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's what time is, and we tend to. The rest is a social thing. You tend to have to be there at this time. You have to achieve this at that time. You have to. Then that's just us.
Yeah.
But then the rest of it all, in terms of life in general, it's just something that was just. It's just something that we're just. It's like our zipper. It's like we create. We can only function in the space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you do feel like time, you know? You do that. You have that feeling of time is moving, rolling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Except in terms of my age, right?
Yeah.
I know time has passed.
Yeah.
They tell me time has passed.
Yeah.
I'm still a little 15, a little 12, you know.
I'm 9.
Right? Right? And people are telling you, no, dude, it's time. It's time to be a girl. It's time to be a lady. It's time to do this. It's time to... No, I'm good with this time.
Okay.
Time. So I hate the fact that it puts so much pressure on us to be what we otherwise want to be. Yeah.
What about you, Jay? What is time to you?
Okay. It's a lot of things, and I'm just like, having the stuff in my mind now.
Take
But
your
I love
time.
time. I love time.
Yeah.
I think it keeps us in track with a lot of things, But far more beyond that, it's what keeps us going. I feel like if there wasn't time, then there wouldn't be a measurement of anything in terms of the length in which it leaves or anything like that.
Yeah.
And now, because of that, we often find ourselves having to go back to reflect on certain things, and so time generally gives you where we are. If you did history, you'd know that during this time,
Certain point in
like,
time.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
And now I never took it like that, but now because of COVID happens. In the next future, they'll be like, COVID, like, okay, cool, but they won't really get it like the way we had it here. So I feel like it keeps track of life records of things that have happened in life. So to say it's not really a trapping space, but it's a gift that you have to understand that once you really embrace what it is, then you can really outlive, time in ways that, well, I'm an artist. I feel like there's like Michael Jackson, their time is gone, but they're still living through the music, So I feel like you can look beyond time.
You want to
in a
live
way,
forever.
but it's really a measurement of what you have to offer to this world, I guess, for the most part.
Good.
Wow.
Wow, that's some interesting perception of time. And I think all of them are right. Now I'd like to look at it anew, almost as if this is the first time we're going to discover time, right? Because, it's very hard to communicate, first of all, between people, because we know too much. Seriously.
Yeah.
We know too much, we've been educated, we've learned this, we've, all this knowledge in our mind, for example, Michael Jackson, it's there, it's popping, this and that. So it's always very hard for people to even look at the same thing at the same time with the same energy. But if you allow yourself to drop those burdens, right, and say, okay, I'm going to find out about this thing right now, then you start to discover that what you thought you knew is even far more complex than than the idea of knowing, right?
Right.
So we can actually discover what time is, like right now. We don't have to base it on, which is time still, looking back again. So let's start with physical time, right? Time by the clock, say. Right now we are 2, right? Earlier on it was morning. You saw the sun rising. That's time, right? One aspect of time. So morning, night, that sort of division, that sort of continuity is time, isn't it? right? Me walking from here to this camera, from here to there, it's time.
Takes a certain amount of
Takes a
time.
certain amount of time. That is time. Now we're starting to see that time is actually something living. You know, it's not just
It's
an
like an
idea.
energy.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it's really there. Now, say, no, this is not a real plant, but the real of this
Cactus.
one, it takes time, right, to grow. You water it, you put your energy into it, and that is time, you know, because it's growing. It's taking a certain amount of time. I mean, even the little details of this thing coming out is time too. Now, even this fake one took time to be made.
To make.
The artist that came up with this beautiful thing actually went through a lot of, you know, he thought about it, he put a lot of energy into it, and then that is it. So that is time in a way as well. So you can see that in real life, quote real life, pretty much everything is time. Space itself is time.
It's time.
Now, I'm not a scientist, but I think there's that whole thing of
Space,
singularity
time,
of time. You know, space and time being kind of like, you can't split them. It's one and the same thing. So now you can think of time as me from there is time, from here to there is time, which means from this point here to any space, I mean, any point in space, that is time.
Yeah.
You can go all the way to the end of the universe, quote, end of the universe. That is time,
Yeah.
right? What is, what historical time, I guess, as well. Now, all that we can observe it, you know, we can actually touch it. It's palpable. We know what time is physically. Now, there's another aspect of time, which is not, we can't grab, right? And that is psychological time. Now, that's when it starts to become a little bit more complex. And that's what I mean by I hate time, because the very moment it's psychological, then it's bound to create a lot of issues. We'll go through it later on. But psychological time is basically your memory, which is your knowledge, right? Your past experiences. Say, now I like to use concrete examples, you know, things that just happen, not just ideas. Say you were coming here, right? You took a car, the guy who drove you here. Now, when you remember that experience, that is psychological time. It's a memory in your mind. It's literally a memory saved in your brain. That is time, psychological time. Now, she said when she was introducing herself, she said Zulu. That is time too, in the sense that it's the culture. Zulu is something that we've kind of like put together.
Yeah.
Even the name Zulu is a result of our mind, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, so you have this whole culture, this whole way of living, this whole thing, and then that's what you call Zulu. And that is time, psychological time, because it came through tradition, through culture, through various experiences. We've shared maybe some experiences together, and then we associate ourselves and say, okay, this is us. Now we move throughout life with that idea in our mind, and that is psychological time. Now, something traumatic happens to you. I don't know, maybe you were 9 and someone stole your sweet, something like that. And from that day on, you say, no, look, I will never leave my sweet alone. You know, I have to keep that sweet close.
Yeah.
That is psychological time, you see. It's something that you've kept in your mind, and you carry it over and over all the time.
Yeah.
So that is, to me, another way of looking at time.
Time.
So it isn't just something out there, you know, 4 o'clock. I mean, even 4 o'clock. The idea of
It's
4.
a taught concept.
Yeah, it's a concept. We thought of it. Like you were saying, it's a measurement tool, per se. So the language itself, also that is time. because it's something that we came up with. We came up with our thinking,
Yeah.
right? So you can see that pretty much everything is time. As we were saying, it's something. It's like a small circle, right? And we are moving always throughout this circle. Now it might be beautiful. I'm not saying it's ugly.
No, no,
No,
no,
no.
no.
I know you are an advocate of time. It's very beautiful. I mean, just look at the whole world. It's really beautiful what we can come up with. But you have to understand that this is the limitation. You can't go out of
Out of
time
it.
per se.
Okay.
And that's what gives structure to what we have.
Yeah.
Right? So, as you start inquiring about yourself, right? Like really a rational, objective inquiry, you will at some point hit the wall of time, because you will notice that in fact everything that I do, I'm always bounded by this thing called time,
Yeah.
right? So even us talking here is only possible because of time, right? The language that we've learned, we've accumulated. If I start talking in Swahili right now, you're completely lost, right?
Yeah.
So basically, there's useful knowledge, useful time,
Yeah.
which is this thing, technological wise, and so on and so on. But now, when it becomes psychological, as in, that man said that to me, you
Yeah.
know. Let's say I come and say you're stupid, right? I really mean it. You're stupid, and you know that I mean it. Now, why does it hurt you? Isn't it because, first of all, you know the meaning of stupid,
Yeah.
right? And you have a certain pride. You have a certain image of yourself. No, I'm not stupid. I'm pretty clever. So someone who goes against that image,
It's offending you.
yeah, is offending
Yeah.
you, and you bound to be angry, to retaliate. Now that's a small example, because if you push it very far, now you have something called wars, for instance. Now all of you are South Africans.
Yeah.
I hate calling people under those tags, but for the sake of argument, you guys are South African. Now you guys are pretty lucky when it comes to your country in terms of wars and political what's not. But this thing called war is actually happening right now. Right now, there's really someone who's being chopped off. The head is gone. There's
Arms
a kid.
blowing.
Yeah, it's really happening
Yeah.
now. As we're chilling here, we've got no problem with anyone. But it's really happening at this second. Now, we're not concerned, first of all, because we can't see it. It's far from us. And also because we feel like he is different. I'm me and he is him.
Yeah.
You yourself, So there's not that deep connection of saying a human being. I am a human being. I am not sorry, I'm not nagging you. I'm not Zulu. Right?
Yeah.
I love this. There's a certain beauty of having diversity, right?
Yeah.
I'm Zulu, I'm Pedi, I'm Congolese, whatever. It's really beautiful. But when you take it to, yes?
I'm offended because you can't put Zulu in that bracket. Zulu means the people of the heavens. So God created the Zulus, and then God created the others.
Good.
Yo, baby
While
girl.
God is speaking on
Yeah.
this, understand that there's that. There's that.
Okay.
Doesn't mean that is any bad. It just does that.
Okay, good. Kanimba, I hear you. Now, let's suppose someone like that is
Yeah.
serious. Right? Let's suppose she's really serious
Yeah.
and she means it. Because there are actually people out there who really
believe
mean it.
that.
Yeah. I don't know if she really means it. I highly doubt. Maybe just a way of talking. But
Yeah.
there are some people that are actually saying us, the chosen, right? And
Yeah.
that's what I mean by psychological time. Because at a very young age, they already tell you, you know what? You chosen, you're different. You Zulu. And you this and that. Now you carry that thing over and over. So when you come across someone like me, say like, this man, who is he? What does he think he is? Which means we can never actually sit together and talk.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole point of life, isn't it? It's relationships.
Yeah.
True.
Not just romantic, we narrow down everything these days, We watch movies, romantic movies and what's not. But life itself is relationships. Relationship between the two of you, between you and the water you drink, between the atmosphere, between light.
You and space, you and time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's nothing that exists, literally, the whole of life cannot exist without that apparent division between this and that, and we have a relationship. But it doesn't mean that they're actually divided, because remember, for something to have a relationship, there's some sort of connection.
Connection.
Might not be apparent, but it's there, So that's what I mean by time is a very tricky thing. First of all, because it's not just one thing, and then there's the world, and then there's time. The whole world literally is time.
It's time.
Physically, time. Psychologically, it's time. Now, when you start looking at it, then you start to learn not only about time, the idea of time, but then now you start to learn more about yourself, which is important. Because most of the time we don't know ourselves.
Ourselves. Yeah, actually, I just wanted to interject real quick. I'm sorry. There's this concept. It's a philosophy concept. I think they've been studied. I don't know. But like I skated past it. I don't really know it. I just skated past it. So it's determinism and free will.
Yeah.
It's that conversation between determinism and free will. And with what you were saying about psychological time, I think that is really the concept of determinism. Everything that you are and every decision that you are going to make is based upon your environment, all your memories, whether you remember them or not. Whatever has happened as your mind has developed from even way before you were born, actually.
Like deeply embedded in your DNA. Type of
Deeply
thing.
embedded in your DNA. Yeah, exactly. So it's like we were talking about this whole Zulu thing.
Yeah.
The reason, like, I could easily just come up to a place and be like, yeah, I'm Zulu. Is because, okay, fine, I was raised that way. But I was raised that way because my parents were raised that way, and then they were raised. And so, it's like, so now I can get up to a place, even like if I'm feeling down. I remember I was feeling some type of way. I was having problems some time back. And then my dad is like, you need to stop. You're Zulu. You're Zulu. You need to get that in your head. You're Zulu. You're not going to let this defeat you. You're just going to go to war. Go. Keep going.
Motivates you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now I have that mindset now. Guti, okay, whatever. We keep it going. You carry that attitude with you, whatever. Because it is predetermined. It's that concept of determinism. It's the memories. It's everything. So now, with you saying that is psychological time, I can really relate it with that. That everything is determined by things that have already happened.
Yeah.
So time is just cycling. Over.
So one cause becomes an effect, and the effect becomes the cause
for
the other effect. So, and now that's very serious now when you look at it like that, which means there's no freedom then in time. Because as long as you are reacting, right, something is happening which makes you react. You cannot help yourself but react. You are not free. Now, you might react in a good way, You say, oh yeah, I'm free, my God, I'm reacting like this.
Yeah.
But you are reacting because you're bound to react.
Yeah.
Now, all that is nice when it's it's a peaceful environment like this. We chilling, just talking. There's a sense of
Freedom.
security, freedom. But when you find yourself in, let's say, you're back at the wall, then you really realize how much you don't have control over your own life. But you're always trying to control because you're bound to try to control. There's no way you cannot try to control.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to talk about control a little bit later because that's a very interesting thing.
Yeah.
Because I always ask the people, who is the controller then? Because most of the time, you see, we think there's a controller. There's someone in me, you know, the thing that says me. I guess you can call it the ego, the self, or whatever. Some people call it the angel, the voice of God, whatever. That thing there, which also is psychological time, right? Because it's built up throughout time. That thing is always trying to control. It's always trying to secure itself.
Yeah.
So much so that it can never realize actually that the controller is the controlled. In the sense that it has the illusion that I am different from what I'm trying to control. You know, let's take an example, a common example. Let's say fear, right? So you have the illusion that I can act on fear. Almost as if fear is something separate from me.
From yourself.
Therefore, when I'm feeling afraid, I have to stop being afraid, which actually is creating more fear.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening. You
And
see these days.
anxiety.
Yeah, and that's the same. That's anxiety.
Mm.
That's what you have. Anxiety. That's fear. That's jealousy. That's the seeking pleasure,
Yeah.
which inevitably will lead to pain. You can't have one without the other.
Two sides of the same
Yeah.
coin.
Yeah.
In fact, looking for pleasure means it's painful not having pleasure. You can't stand just being like this. You want something.
Whoa.
Yeah, so you're
yeah.
looking for that. So it's already pain, you see. And that, we don't learn it in schools, you see, these things. We cultivate this whole thing of time, you know, knowledge. we, we cultivate this whole knowledge thing because I think probably it starts from very far, the Greek civilization with this whole pursuit of knowledge, you know, mathematics.
The age of enlightenment.
Yeah, stuff like that. Which really, in a way, we created a lot of beautiful things, you know, like technology. All this is possible because of measurement. You know, computers, it's measurement. Recording, you record something, you keep stock of it, you measure it compared to something else. But it's limited. It's not free. It's always moving around. That's why you see that even the old civilization, we might think we've evolved, yeah? We have beautiful things, but they were already doing some things. As long as you're thinking you're going to come up with something new, you know, it's like an artist. As long as he's doing his craft,
Yeah.
there's always something new that comes from there. Yeah. But it doesn't mean that now what let's say you draw something, it's slightly more sophisticated than her, that you're not creative. It's the same thing, really. But as we like this thing of judging, it's all right, this looks a little bit better than that, and therefore you feel like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, let's say you do music, right? Now, this new era, they have a certain kind of music. Maybe the old school would be like, these people, man,
It's not done.
they don't know. But to us, the new era, we feel like, yeah, this is us. To the mind, it's new and we love it. So we're always in this conflict of generation because it's time. You know, we don't want to move forward and so on. So the reason I'm pointing all this is, as long as time is there, as long as there's not an understanding of time, conflict is there. And there's no freedom, right? There's really no freedom. So what you have to do, it's not to rebel against time and say, you know what, I'm going to live out of time. Or what are you going to do? Are you going to take a pill and die or what? No. But it's to realize that you're trapped. You are really trapped. It's something that is, how can I put it? It's like trying to rebel against your body. You can't. It's there.
It's your body.
Yeah. What you can do, though, is to understand it. All right?
Yeah.
Understand, what is this thing really?
And how can I work with it?
Exactly. Yeah. Understanding it is the only time that actually now you can move out of time.
Yeah.
Like time can stop.
Yeah.
There's really a way for time to be completely still. And that is, I I guess people have many names, you know, come up with, which is also just knowledge. But if you can find a way to stop time and look at it almost as if you're out, you can't really be out of it, but
But just,
the moment
Yeah.
it stops, you know, let's take an example. Let's say time is this small circle here, you know, always moving. If you can find a way to dissolve this small circle, then suddenly you find that there's this whole thing that
Universe.
is there. Not as an idea, you know. These days we like thinking too much, and it's like science fiction, and then we think, oh my God, time is gonna stop, then water won't fall. No, I really mean it. Like if you look at it detail by detail, you see how your psychological time is working in you. You see, oh, this is time, and so on, which means you're inquiring into yourself. You might hear it from me right now, but until you yourself, you look at it as it's happening, then nothing happens. Then it's just an idea. It's more like reading a book. But if you can look at it, then there's a way that time can come to an end. And there's no one to describe that. Because if you try to describe that, then you're back again in that whole trap.
Yeah.
The whole knowledge of it. You know, the whole say, you know what, I've discovered that. But it's not that anymore. You're trying to explain something that can't be explained.
It's like that man in the cave concept. Like,
Yeah.
the one who went out of the cave after
Yeah.
they've been living in whatever cave they were living in. He saw the sun and
Yeah.
all the other plants, and it wasn't just a shadow
Yeah.
like they see it. And he's like, no, guys, it's not just a shadow. It's an actual flower. You should come out and see it. But now he's back in the cave to be telling everybody else.
And then it's another thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to me, I feel like as long as a man has not understood this thing, this time thing, he's like a rat in a cage. You can do whatever you want. You can go up, down. You can have all the money in the world. You can have all, I don't know what people seem to give importance in these days. But you can have all that. You are completely trapped in this. And also one trap with time is we feel like it's like we can navigate through this world with all the conflict it has because, you know, at some point I'm going to die, you know, and then I move on into something better. We have very nice ideas of something better.
Yeah, we have
Yeah.
sponsored concepts of what,
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
Of what's coming.
Yeah.
Which are our fears, right? Maybe we're afraid of not dying. So you project something nice over there,
Yeah.
right? That is also time. You see the trap now. So you can't decide to be irresponsible. It's like saying, okay, I'm fine, I'm in trap, I'm trapped and I'm cool with it. You can't say I'm cool with it because as long as you know you're trapped, then your mind is bound to remove that whole thing. So that's why I was saying time being the enemy of man. First, now we understand what time is, I guess. We have
Yeah.
pretty much
Yeah.
an idea of it. It's really subtle. You have to give your time. You have to give your time. You have to give it your energy, right? To see how subtle it is. It's very interesting. I don't know why people don't do this. We can go to the movies, spend 2 hours, but sitting alone, maybe because it's hard.
Ooh. Yeah,
Yeah.
speaking of which, I think there was like, I don't know if it's like a study or something where they sort of like had people, I think it's more like, I don't know what it is, but it's like a hall where they have people where you stay there for like a week. So they take your phone, everything. It's like
People go
and it's
crazy.
lean. People don't survive.
Yeah.
Normally people leave there for like 2 days because
Yeah.
people can't stand themselves.
No, they can't.
Yeah, so it's like we consistently staying in distraction to keep going.
Mm.
You know, your phones, TV, like what you just said, it's like you are the worst thing to deal with. So
Yeah.
people don't survive the full course.
Mm.
So it just made me thought about that, and it's like,
Yeah, it's true. And look at this society. Everything is commercial.
yeah,
You know, we've commercialized everything. When you look at, the more we evolved, the more we commercialize everything. I have some friends and brothers in America. they're completely lost in this whole commerce machine. You know, the billboards,
Sports and stuff.
when you watch, I watch NBA sometimes, you watch one game, it's 40 minutes, but in that 40 minutes, you've had like every 2 minutes, every break, you've had burgers, you've had pizzas, you've had car insurance.
Yeah.
It's a monster in that society. And you find people that, no wonder they're dealing with these problems, you know, these racial problems, social problem. Someone just wakes up and goes, shoots everyone. Apparently it's starting to happen here in South Africa too, in these taverns.
Oh yeah.
People shooting, I don't know what's happening. So those are signs of sick minds, really.
Yeah.
It's like we're fed up because most of the time no one can sit alone and say, okay, let me find out. So even just a simple feeling of, let's say jealousy. You feeling jealous. You want to quickly erase that by focusing on the person you're jealous at. Right? You say, all right, yeah, I'm not jealous. You can't accept that you're jealous. You say, no, this person who does think
No,
he's,
you did
is
this
talking
to
like
me.
this,
Yeah.
as if it was me, I was going to do. But there's a lot happening in your mind. You're not even, but it's like you're trapped in something quickly going. You won't give it a second. Now, let alone sitting quietly. Not these things of meditation, please, no.
Just
No, yeah.
silence and
Silence, look at it.
being
Yeah.
present, technically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
be there and find out. Then as you do that, then you find there's a mystery in this world, really.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that this already here is happening, how can you get used to this? But we're used to it, you know. We want something more than what is happening. But the fact that life itself is happening is really mind-blowing. Now, a man who's serious has to do that job, to discover himself, not to gain something, right? Now, this is a part where we talk about men, and when I say men, also women. Please, you know, this is a general way of speaking.
Mankind.
Yeah, mankind, a human. A human has to do this job. He has to understand himself, right? He has to be so honest with himself that there's no shade of doubt in him. Not saying I don't lie, therefore I'm honest, but saying I am lying, I know that I'm lying. That's pure honesty. You're staying with the fact. You're not trying to color it and saying, you know what, no, I was lying because this happened and what. No, I'm hurt. Yes, I'm hurt. That's it.
Yeah.
Why should it be otherwise? Saying it should be otherwise is you not standing to be hurt. Is you not
Agreeing with yourself.
agreeing with
looking
yourself
at
that
yourself
I'm
in an
hurt.
honest way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saying that this person really makes me feel jealous. Stay with that. Instead of saying, no, you know, I'm not even jealous, you know. How can I be jealous? Me, do you know who I am? You know, and then other things come. So from jealousy to pride, from pride to anger, and then it goes on.
See?
Yeah.
How is it possible for man to be honest with themselves when you are saying that in order for them to experience and feel something, but they cannot elaborate on, I am hurt. I'm hurt because of this and this and this and this. This is how it makes me feel. And in order for me to move forward, I should avoid such and such and such in order to not feel like this again. Are those words not necessary in order for you to actually be honest in what you feel and how, in the space in which that pain makes you feel and how you can move forward in that space? If you're not going to elaborate on that, then you can't move from it. Because it's going to
Okay.
be, I'm hurt,
Uh-huh.
but you're not moving. You're in that, I'm hurt.
Uh-huh.
You don't know why you're hurt. You
Yeah.
don't know how you're hurt. You don't know how you can avoid being hurt, but you're hurt.
Okay, so your point is, if you feel you hurt, you want to change that, isn't it? You want to change that. Now, why do you want to change that?
Because pain isn't necessarily an awesome place
So it's
to be in.
disturbing. It's uncomfortable being hurt, right?
Yes.
It's uncomfortable. Now, find out why it's uncomfortable.
But you're saying we shouldn't find out. We should just experience it in the moment and move.
No.
No, I'm not saying that. There's this thing you call hurt. It's happening, right? The problem is you want something different. In fact, you
a bottle
wanting
of
something
water.
different is enforcing that thing. Do you get my point? So let's say you hurt, right? I say something to you and it hurts you. Now, you trying to run away from that hurt is a conflict, isn't it? You are hurt, but then you want
Human
something.
nature. We avoid things that make us
Yeah,
feel uncomfortable.
no, I'm saying that's what happens, right? You call it human nature. I'm saying maybe it's because you're doing it wrong. If you hurt, right, and you want something other than being hurt, isn't it that already creating more hurt? Because what you want is an idea, isn't it? It's not real.
Pleasure.
You want pleasure because you're feeling pain.
But pain and pleasure are synonymous. But pain alone can never give you pleasure.
What do you mean?
Pain and pleasure are synonymous. You can never want one and never want to experience the other. But
No,
if
when
you're
you
only
want pleasure,
experiencing pain,
no, when you want pleasure, do you want to experience pain? You don't
Girl,
want to.
you're getting nasty.
No, so, but coming back to what we were saying, right? It's very subtle. Just look at it, Anna. Look at it. Give it a second.
Pain
Right.
and pain.
If you're feeling bad, right? You're hurt. You trying to get to feel something other than hurt is already creating a conflict. So there's this thing that is happening.
so you're saying that we need to be utterly present in everything that we feel and never want to, because we try to dilute
Yeah.
situations in order to deal with them. We break them down into little pieces. For instance,
Yeah.
when I'm in pain, I'm going to find something that's going to make me happy so that it's easier for me to be in the space I'm in. I'm going to go get chocolate. I'm going to eat. I'm going to harass Mbali. Somebody out there
Yeah.
has to feel or hear what I'm going through.
Good. Now
cannot be here
look what that does, right? So there's this thing that's happening. You try to avoid it by going away, right?
Yeah, so I can come back.
No.
into it.
Let me tell you. I get your point, right? So you're feeling bad and you say, I need to get chocolate so I can feel better. Now, you don't understand that in that act of going to get chocolate, you're also going to feel bad. Maybe you don't have enough money. Maybe it's not the right type of chocolate. Maybe the
No,
store is
I'm not
closed.
focused on my pain.
No, but look, that's what
I'm focused on the solution.
Listen, Zana, that's not a solution.
That's a
It is
distraction.
solution
No.
because listen, by the time I get
That's a
back to my
distraction,
house,
though.
It's a distraction.
It's a distraction.
It doesn't take
Distraction.
away the
Listen,
pain.
it doesn't take it away, but by the time that I get back to my pain, I've broken my pain down in easy to deal with parts. So now I'm gonna have the chocolate, be like, oh my god, I'm so sad. But this tastes so good. Okay,
But
baby, why
No,
are you sad?
listen, I get
That's technically shifting, dealing with it now.
exactly.
To I'll
Which
deal
is
with
time.
it later. Yeah, I'll
Which
deal
is
with it
time.
By
later.
the time I deal with it, I am mentally prepared to actually give it.
No,
the
you can
energy
never be
that I
mentally
need
prepared.
to give it to it.
You know, the problem is
Baby
when you
girl.
say mentally prepared, you're not even understanding your mental. You're not even understanding your mind. What's important isn't to get away from pain, is to understand pain itself. In that very understanding of pain, it loses its vitality, it loses its strength.
It reminds me of 11 minutes.
Ah.
Elaborate on that.
Now, look, that's time again. We're talking.
I'm not
we
gonna
are,
leave you. As 11 minutes, that book.
It's a book.
Just go read Paulo Coelho.
They will not
That's
read it.
No,
If
I
that's
hate-
what they need to hear.
Read
No.
that book.
No, look, Mbali. That's why I say I hate time, right?
Yeah.
I really hate this thing of time because going, first of all, finding out about something through someone is never finding out.
Yeah.
It's you accumulating knowledge,
Somebody else's experience.
somebody's experiences. Now, someone might help you, but until you yourself, you see it, you touch, you feel it. I mean, look, it's something you use. You can't know what this thing is until you really touch it. I can come and tell all about this thing Water is like this. Oh, I can even go and be a scientist. It's H2O. It does this and that. But until you really experience this, you're lying to yourself. And that is time. That is psychological
Yeah.
time. All right. So actually, as she was talking, something came to my mind. This idea of control, this idea of something is happening and I can do something to change what is happening.
Situation.
Okay, so who is that? Who is saying that?
Self.
Self.
Yeah, self.
Now, what is the self? Can we find out what is the self? Okay, let's leave time aside because
Yeah.
It's
we have an
just
idea.
Thoughts in a way.
Yeah, I thought like an
Just
accumulation of
genuine-
everything that
yeah.
you know,
It's thoughts.
helping you decide. I mean, we obviously do not have free will. I think that's just
Free will, it's a very complicated thing, but I think we can understand it if we look at what is thought,
Yeah,
what
thoughts.
is
Yeah.
thinking itself. So, first of all, as a man, right, as a human, what am I? Let's say I want to find that thing. Right? First of all, there's me, right? You're there.
Physical form.
Yeah, there's the hair, beautiful hair, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right? There's the teeth, the whatever that's coming out of your mouth, that's you. The physical parts you understand very easily. But psychologically, what are you? No, you can try, throw some words,
I
say,
still
because I know a lot of people would say we are the spirits, for instance.
Yeah.
What do you
We are
mean
the
you are the
spirits.
spirit? Isn't that your
I-
knowledge?
There's probably a spirit in us.
No, when you said there's a spirit in us, so you mean there's a spirit in you.
I think
What do
so.
you mean? What is the definition of the word spirit? Is it like wind? Is it what is it?
Not necessarily wind, so much as a higher consciousness.
So there's consciousness, and then there's higher consciousness.
There's definitely something bigger than what I've got going on.
Okay,
Or-
yeah. Look,
Yeah.
look what's happening. Look what happens when you do that, right? There's consciousness. You say there's consciousness, and then there's something bigger than consciousness, which means you thought about that thing.
Yeah.
You know, there's me, and then there's something bigger.
Yeah.
It's a thought, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you say there's something bigger, so it's still the same thing.
I
You
think
thought
it's,
about it.
it's only the same thing if I try to understand that something bigger.
No, but you already projected something bigger. You already imagine an idea of something
Of
bigger,
something bigger.
which is a thought, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's
So, so you see, it's running away from it. There's a thought. It projects something that
Something bigger.
apparently is different from itself.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it's like a game of upmanship. So
Yeah.
it projects something here, and then it can get there. You know, some people say we are gods, for instance, you know, because maybe they're bored of being humans. I'm a god. No, he's human.
I don't know. I don't really think it's being bored.
Okay, what is it?
I think it's the idea that for the fact that God had the thought and thought about you, it means that you are a reflection of what a God is.
Yeah.
You know, not really saying that.
Okay,
I'm
first of
born
all,
being
let's
him,
come
you know.
back to that word, God. I know it's very sensitive. A lot of people will probably gonna grab me by the neck. But God, when you say God, what do you mean by God?
The one beyond time and
Yeah.
everything we've been
The
speaking
one.
about.
So,
The one outside of the cycle of time.
so first of all, you've already understood the whole cycle of time. You know you are in time, so there's me in time. And then you say there's someone
Outside of time.
outside. Isn't that you projecting something outside of your time?
That's me projecting and understanding that before me, there should have
There's
been something.
Before you,
Yeah.
there should have
Before
been something.
time, rather. There should have been
So
something.
before
Exactly.
anything was there, there must have been something.
And
Who
that
put
is the
this
one.
circle there? The
Yes.
circle of time. Who's the one who constructed
charge
it?
of it.
That would be.
See, now that's the trick of time. Because that was the time, right? When you say
Yeah,
when,
that's why
Yeah.
that's why it is time, because it took time to make it.
Yeah.
And not that the person who made it constructed time, which is why I get it. Okay. Can I get a little biblical? Sorry.
no, go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, it says in the beginning God created, and then it was day, and then it was evening, right? While he was making those things, within making those things, he was constructing the concept of time. He was constructing time by making it. Understand? I don't know
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's why we can say God is the one outside of time, because he basically created it while he was creating, and then said, yeah, be in while he was creating. He created it while he was creating.
Don't you think that's taking a little bit things too literally?
I think when you think of God as a being, it gets a little bit, you
Yeah.
know, but rather as none.
Yeah.
Okay, you see, okay, perhaps that's the definition of God.
Yeah.
But you see, what I'm trying to point out is, as a man, as a human, anything you can think of is not that. You are limited. You are in this little thing here, remember. Don't try to even, anything you can think of still is your movement of thinking, right? Accept that at least, first of all.
No, I accept
Yeah.
that it's sponsored by experiences and stuff
Yeah.
that we've been through. Yeah.
So which means, what you say God, even the very definition of God,
God.
you're lying to yourself, you're projecting, you're too little, you can't even think about that, right? Whatever you call it, higher being or self, whatever things, still it's within these perimeters of human beings. But somehow we can't accept that. We will never accept that. We want to be sure of things. We want to know for sure. So we project those little, we might say, yeah, okay, fine, I understand. It's too big. We can't even talk about it. But we can't help each other. We just keep on talking about it. Why?
And yeah, it's a good thing. I'm not really like deep into
Yeah, yeah.
religion. I'm just like, a casual person.
Yeah.
But I feel like it could be that it is the way you're saying it. It could be that someone felt that I need to find a way to have something within me to believe in that is like gonna keep me going, which is why you're saying what you're saying, right? It could be that, and it also could be that, I don't know, you can feel the thoughts, when you sit down, you feel that there's definitely something bigger than
Who
me.
is feeling that?
It could be that it's a you, a bigger picture of you, a superior you that maybe you just
Is
are
it
not,
not-
big enough to take as in like, but
Yeah.
you just say, there is this. I won't say it, but it's that. I don't want to say God higher,
Yeah,
but it's
no.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, now I want to actually bring it back to earth.
Yeah,
Because I think it's very earthly. It's still thinking.
Yeah.
true.
When you think of this, whatever thing that is happening there, isn't that a movement of thinking? So why
is.
does thought always want to transcend itself?
Because there are certain things that you just cannot understand.
No, but why
That
does he
even
want
the
to understand?
thought in itself of just, have you never experienced something? You experienced so many things in your life, right? And you know the natural order of things, right? Well, generally. But then something happens to you that could not have possibly, it shouldn't be able to happen. Like, knowing, it just shouldn't be, it just can't. There's no way.
Yeah.
And then it happens. That's something you don't understand. So maybe the reason why we project that there is a higher being, because we cannot see it, we cannot understand, and therefore it must be from somewhere else.
Yeah. Now, I get your
So
point.
thought literally is the seed of creation.
So thought is a copycat. That's the way at least I say it.
But now, besides everything, I mean, I would have had to have thought about this shape of this portal before I could create it.
Yeah.
So if you'd say that, I mean, I copied it somewhere. But I thought about it. I don't know where it came from, but I thought about
No,
it.
I can
you
tell you
know,
where it came
Different
from.
inspirations.
You know, yeah.
I can,
Yeah.
I can tell you where it came from.
Where?
Tell me of something. Let's say the guy who created what a pot or a vase, whatever, a bottle. He thought we started probably in the animal already when we're still very primitive, trying to get water. When we started using our thoughts more in a far more complex way, we wanted something that can hold.
Building
You know,
tools.
with tools
Yes.
and so on. So it was just us experiencing stuff as in relationship with nature, literally, right? So that's very rational, intelligent way of, evolving, I guess, of using our intellect.
Innovate.
Yeah, innovating. It's like an artist, someone who comes up with a chair. It's just him.
Having sat on something at some point.
Yeah. So basically, what I'm trying to point out is, coming back to thought, is thought tries to play this game all the time of projecting something that it feels it's different from itself, right? That is thinking. Imagination, for example. Let's say you imagine something beautiful right now. A butterfly is flying here. It's a thought, but you feel it's real. You can imagine a butterfly
Yeah.
here. So the same way you imagine a higher thing, because you can't understand what is going on here. It's too big. It's way too complex. So you imagine there must be someone that is doing this. And I'm saying that is the mistake. Stay with the immensity of not knowing what is going on. That's way more important than translating it. Because if you stay with it long enough, then the whole thing kind of like reveals itself to you. You don't have to philosophize about it. Because you see, the moment you start philosophizing about it, it means you're running away from the thing itself. And that's what I call fear. The example she came up with, right? When you say you're feeling this thing, right, it's really uncomfortable, and you want to run away from it, the very act of wanting, the desire of something other than what is there, is fear. That is the movement of fear. It's like in real life, seeing a snake and you want to run away from snake.
No, the funny thing is that concept is almost exactly the same as like the concept of God as well. Like being comfortable in not knowing. And then the whole church thing, they teach us that, okay, you get to God and then you just stay there and let him do his thing and be comfortable in not knowing, and then you can escape can escape fear. Or just pretty much the way you said it, but like accept without God instead of just nothingness. Or maybe God is not, I don't know.
So you mean the whole concept of
God
trusting
as well.
God,
Of trusting God is exactly the same as the whole concepts that you just described right now
of
not knowing.
But someone who accepts God knows.
No, someone who accepts God accepts that they don't know.
No, look, you say...
And God knows.
No, it's like saying, look,
It's hectic,
I have no control over this thing.
Not all the answers, Sway.
It's like saying, I have no control over this thing, but God knows.
Yeah.
So you have not accepted that you have no control.
No, I've accepted.
No, it's like saying, look,
I'm not going to do anything
you can't
about
control.
it.
Yeah, you can't change anything, but someone will, because God will.
If he wants to.
Yeah, if you want to or not. But what I'm saying, why, if you've accepted that there's nothing that can be done, you've accepted it really. You don't bring in a third element. Because you bring in a third element because you feel like, no, it can be done through this God. So you have not accepted the fact that really, I don't know, there's nothing that can be done here.
But you say that it can be done through God. Yes, we do have that concept that it can be done through him. But we also have that thing of, and if it's not his will, we have to accept that as well.
First you create a God and then you create his will.
We don't create it. If it's not his will, then it's not his will.
No, but you see what you did.
We're not creating his will. We don't know his will.
No, I'm
So
not
as
saying...
things happen,
No, you already, the problem is, sorry, please, I'm not
No,
putting you on
I
the
know.
spot. Yeah,
We're just
we're trying to get...
having a conversation, yeah.
You see, the moment you've already accepted the idea of God, it means you've accepted He can or cannot help. But He's already there. So He has His will, a will on His own. You have forgotten that you put Him there first. So that's you just making like a back plan of saying, in case even Him doesn't help me, it means it was never His will in the first place. So that's you still trying to protect you in case even the guy was there doing it.
Protecting my image of God.
It must be him, you know.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
okay, let's come back a little back to earth. So thought, that is the design of thought, which is time, psychological time, is it's always moving in this circle, you know, always acting as if it's separate from itself. So there's a me in there, there's something in me other than myself. Now, what exactly is that? Because if you look at it, you can see that still it's thinking. And what is that thinking? How does thinking start? And perhaps if you can see how it starts, you can pinpoint it. You know, I know it's always going to try to run, but you can actually see it for what it is. So how does thinking start? What triggers thinking?
Things.
A session,
Experience.
maybe. An idea, rather.
For example, right now, I just asked you a question, right? That whole movement started. So your senses, right? You hear me, you hear me talking. And then the only reason you understood what I was saying is because you know the language, right? So you've accumulated that notion, the English notion in your mind. Isn't that thought as well? Because when I say A, you know what A is. I mean, you can literally picture A right now. So thinking is experiences. It's your memories. Can you think of something that you don't know? That's the question I always ask.
You
Think
can.
like what?
No, I'm saying
You can't. So without memory, there's no thinking.
Yeah.
Without, you have to start. You have an experience.
Accumulate
Yeah.
stuff.
You
through the
accumulate
senses.
something.
But
It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
No,
for
please
the most
try.
part, you can.
Yeah.
I think you can think of something. I mean,
Like
for
what?
instance, like, okay, cool, we're going to this place, you know. I'll try by all means to send you the pictures of the place. But this is what's going on there. If I tell you the activities that go there, you already start thinking about what could it possibly look like.
Yeah. Now I'm
You
only
know?
thinking of it because you told me. You gave me an image. You gave me an activity. I can't possibly think. To even start to think of a place, you must have told me that we're going to a place, which means I even know the notion of what is a
This
place.
place, okay, cool. You know,
To even think of a place, I have to know the meaning of the word
where the
place.
yeah.
So thinking is nothing else but accumulation of memories
Memory.
through your experiences, through your senses.
Okay, yeah.
So this thing here that is memory has made itself so big that it goes even beyond those experiences that started it in the first place.
Yeah.
You see the danger now. So through these experiences, you have memories, and then at some point, that structure now feels like it's bigger than memories themselves, than experiences themselves. Says, no, I'm the one, creating this or whatever, navigating, without realizing that it's limited to that level. In fact, what's even more mysterious is experience itself. The fact that listening, for example, is happening. The fact that, this whole movement of life is happening. Not thinking. Thinking is translating it. But life itself, as it's happening, is far more mysterious. Right? Now, is there a way to stop that con artist of thinking? Don't answer me. Try and see how hard it is.
To stop thinking.
I mean, I'm thinking about the question already,
Thinking
so it's
about
like
thinking.
it's impossible.
You're thinking about thinking.
Yeah, so it's no.
So
It's-
even the guy who's gonna say, yeah, maybe I can stop still
Thanks.
drinking, right? He's acting as if he can do something about himself.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Now that's time, that's psychological time, that's the trap I'm talking about. Right? So someone comes along, let's say me, right? I seem to be a little bit rational, right? I don't want to trick you into anything. Now I'll tell you, look, there's really a way for thought to come to an end, which means time to come to an end. And it's only possible if you can understand it, you observe it, and by discovering that the one observing is the observed. If you can just see the truth of it, not think about it. If you can find out that the thinker is nothing but a thought, for that split second, I don't want to say split second because that implies time, but for that, whatever,
Moment.
Concept.
still time,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
For that little moment, the whole of life, literally, it's almost as if you have the whole world in your hands. Now, of course, you might just, you won't really realize what just happened, but the mind, when the mind realizes that, in fact, it is doing that, right? When thought realizes that it's doing that movement,
Yeah.
then you have another sort of energy. You have another sort of, when I say I hate using these words because we've turned everything into some crazy stuff. When I say energy, then it becomes this people. No, but it's almost as if the mind wakes up to itself for the first time. It sees that it's moving in circle. There's no one who's going to stop the movement because the very act of trying to stop the movement
Yes.
is creating the movement. It will fight. I promise you, the control, somehow we feel like we have to control this thing going on, right? So we'll fight. But then you know you know what you're doing. It goes on and on. But there's these few instances, and most likely, probably it happens when your mind has gotten tired, it's understood that it's caught in a trap. And generally it happens in your sleep, where your mind is completely honest with yourself. It's literally like,
Reflecting back on everything.
no, there's not even reflecting back because there's no time there. It's like putting a mirror in front of itself. For the first time, the mind sees itself exactly how it is. Which is why I was saying it's important to know yourself for what you are, as during the day like this, to not train. It's not a training thing, but for the mind to know itself at least on that superficial level, I'm hurting. Okay, fine, I'm hurting. And I'm trying to stop it. I'm doing all this good. And then the more it does that, the more it learns to be with itself. It's not scared of itself anymore. And then you have these few moments whereby the mind is so clear, so quiet that it can see itself without any movement. And that mind is this. I don't know if it makes sense. That mind that you think, it's what's going on in your mind, is exactly this what's happening. What you see here, the world, the physical, the fears, is this. It's almost as if what you're looking here is the mind.
Yeah.
Now, look what happens. You tell this to someone, and then what they do is they record it as an idea, as a memory. They don't do the job. They don't actually look at it. You have to doubt, you have to doubt everything that's coming out of someone. Just look at it. Find out for yourself.
Question.
Is that so? Or how can that be? Okay. What is thinking? What is time? This and that. Then you realize that for the first time in your life, now you become responsible. Responsible not for your beastly little car there or your whatever, but you've understood that whatever that is going on,
I am doing
I
it.
am doing it. Therefore, there's no one to blame. You can't even blame yourself because that's thinking again. So whatever that is going on, I'm doing it. And that's the birth of compassion. That's love. You see another person and you're like, so this really is, you can't hurt another being. That's what we don't have. That's why we have this society. Everyone feels like, it's me against them. So we create all these little groupments of people, right? We've split the whole mind, we split the whole thing. So basically what's happening in us, because we are so divided, fragmented, it's reflecting out here as religions, different religions, as political movements, as I am an artist, you are a scientist. Anything you can think of, all these divisions between people, is because in the mind, that's where it starts, right? You can't create a country without thinking about it.
Yeah.
So the very movement of thinking has created this. And by nature, that's how it is. But at some point, the mind has to rebel against this because it's a trap. There's no hell I can think worse than this. When you don't realize what you're doing to yourself.
Yeah.
So now, let's say you're serious about all this, right? And you want to find out, okay, sure, you want to find out. How do you do this? Do you think you can even attempt to find out, or is it too scary? Because the whole society is against that, right?
Yeah.
Because as the moment you live here, you have your culture calling, Amazulu, come, you have your
The people.
yeah, the people, and and it gives you security in there. Like yes, you have your whole race saying these people, let's say white people, there's none of them,
Tribes, yeah.
but the ones white, they're like, no, they did this to us, like how come? And you're fighting. The moment you live here, there's your religion, you're Christian or Muslim or Buddhist, or you say I'm an atheist, all those things are rubbish. So you see, you're always putting yourself in those little brackets.
Boxes, yeah.
Now, how do you get out of that thing?
Well, the question would be, why would you want to get out first?
Because
Ask yourself why you want to get out of it.
maybe
Yeah.
because you're trapped.
But what if you're so secure in that enchantment?
Are you secure?
I feel so
How so?
secure. Like, mostly
Yeah.
with my religion.
Yeah.
I feel so secure in that higher power. Okay, personally, in my belief in that higher
Yeah.
power. I feel like, there's nothing on this earth that can do me any type of way.
So all your demons, you're beating them up.
All these demons, I'm not even beating them up because there's this God, and then he has this Holy Spirit, which he has put in me, and these ideas, some kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, you secure them.
I'm so secure because now that Spirit's going to fight all these demons. God's going to make all these opportunities. This and this is going to happen. And I don't even have to lift a finger. I just have to be like, God. And then God just does it. And then I get into places and I'm just like, oh.
And
that's the confidence
satisfies.
I have in it. And it satisfies me.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be in a place outside of it. Because now, if I'm going
No,
to
you can't even be outside of it.
yeah. If I'm going to go and decide, you know what, I want to face myself and face the reality of me. And then, it's good. It's good. We should do it. I don't think I'm going to like what I see, though.
So you're afraid.
I am.
Yeah.
I am afraid. But then I look at it in the religious way. And then I'm like, I can look at myself. And then I'm like, oh, the blood of Jesus. And then it's like, oh.
Doesn't all that bring also some other conflicts? Maybe I don't know. Okay, let's say Muslims.
I
How
love
do
the
you-
Muslim religion. Just yesterday, I was doing a video on one of the Muslim hadith and stuff. They have so many beautiful teachings. Their concept of God is like
Yeah.
amazing. And it's pretty much the same concept of God that I have. I don't think it differs. It's just,
So why are you split then? Why don't you guys join?
no, bruh, people want their own houses. Everybody wants their own house. Just because we're all people, we're not going to live in the same house. So it's different. It's the same God. And all we have to do is just respect each other. That's it.
Yeah.
And
But
maybe
there's no-
learn from
yeah.
each other.
So okay, now the way you make it sound like there's really no problem. But that's not the way I see
No,
it.
it's just true.
Because I mean, look, those Muslims, right? Some of them are bombing people. I mean, not
But then
not
that's
the,
their own thing. That's
the
their
ones,
own
the
personal
extreme,
thing.
the extreme
The
ones.
extremists, yeah.
I believe the normal ones don't really have to go all the way.
Yeah.
Then. But some believe it to that extent. Seriously, some guys can actually come and bomb because you're Christian. So it's creating a lot of chaos. I mean, look, in Africa, for instance, there was a lot that has been done in the world for the name of, for that idea of Christianity, for instance.
Yeah.
Lots of terrible things by trying to save us.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe you're comfortable because it's not really hitting home yet. But okay, fine, let's leave religion aside. But something else is hitting home, which is fear, for instance, or the search for security. We all have that. As a human being, you're bound to hit that wall. So how do you deal with that then?
Outside of religion?
Yeah, outside of religion. So
Okay,
religion
outside
is
of
the
God?
ultimate.
I can't
Solution.
see it. Well, for me, God is the solution for everything.
Yeah.
And I understand that it's different for everybody. Everybody has their own
Yeah,
different
yeah,
concepts.
that's true.
Yeah, it's just that I cannot, and I don't want to take myself out of that position of like, that's everything for me.
Yeah, you can't. You're conditioned to be there.
Call it conditioning.
Well, no,
yeah,
it's a
well, yeah,
condition.
it's a condition, yeah,
Yeah.
because I was raised that way, my
Raised,
environments and everything, but I'm conditioned that way. And I also feel like, okay, maybe if I was in a different space, I would be thinking differently, but like I don't want to be in a different space. I don't want to be.
You don't want to
I don't
go
want to.
in the dark zones. You don't know what's there.
I don't know. No.
No, good. No, if that works for you,
Yeah.
then go ahead. You do it.
Yeah.
But I know you will hit the wall. I hope God you don't. But I know you will. I know you will.
Yeah,
And
because that's
it's
life.
gonna come in. Yeah, it's life.
Yeah.
And at some point, because as long as the mind is not secure, I don't know if you've ever noticed, before you go to sleep, you try to put some order in your mind, saying, I did this, I was talking to that person, I said that, I should have said that.
Yeah.
Or tomorrow I have a meeting with that person, I'm going to do this, I'm going to wake up, or let me put an alarm. So the mind, every second, is trying to be orderly. And that's what I call superficial order, because also it comes from the mind itself, the thinking process. And the thinking process can never be complete because there's always a lack of information. So before you go to sleep, that's what happens. It tries to rationalize, put order so that it can finally be at peace. And say, God is going to take care of it tomorrow, good. Then you sleep,
Yeah.
right? Now, then you dream.
Yeah.
A lot of dreams. And those some of them crazy
Some you
dreams.
remember, yeah.
So that's still the mind going on. Because you're sleeping, right? You're not actually living those things. Then the mind now goes crazy there, because there it still is going in that quest of, I have to be secure. So if you have money issues, you might just win the lottery in the dream. Something happened, you're like, oh my God, yeah, finally I'm secure. The mind will not give you any second until you see it for what it is. Now you can create all these concepts, ideas, and have the illusion that you are secure. But the mind knows what's going on. It knows your fears, your hurt. It's always moving. So good, it works for you. Maybe your dreams will tell you otherwise, but it's going on.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
let's say
cutting
you
out
for
the religion part. Can we
Yeah.
go back again?
Yeah, yeah.
Security and what? You
security.
spoke about security when she mentioned that she finds it in. I just, because there's something I was thinking about, but I
Yeah.
just want to go back to make sure
I
that.
think I was talking about security and freedom, maybe, I don't know.
Okay, no.
I find security, and yeah, we did mention something else actually.
I don't
Okay,
know.
cool.
It's,
It slipped off.
but it's gonna come. It's gonna
Yeah,
come
yeah.
back anyway.
Well, my take is, do you ever get to a point where when you're doing something that you genuinely like from inside feel that this completes me? And it may be different for everyone. For her, it might be religion. When she's at church, it's like time doesn't even exist there,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
For me, that would be me when I'm in the studio.
Yeah.
And that's where I could say that's my safe space, where I am extremely present, and it feels like this is security, this is forever, this is not even timed until I'm done, and I'm like, oh, holy time, and then
Yeah.
so
comes
I
running
think
back.
that for me, that is the security there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, what you guys are suggesting is what we should do. If I understand properly, you find your good thing, that one good thing
Your
that
passion.
helps you solve any problem that might come.
That makes you feel complete in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing, I don't think, as we live in this world as it is, nothing's really going to solve your problems.
Yeah.
You just need to be able to get into that space in your mind where even your problems are like, because you're at the studio, you're making music, you're not even thinking about, like.
And
Yeah.
it's even worse because there's people thinking about making the problems. I mean, COVID, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. They said it.
But that's what I'm saying.
So now, when you face that, you're
Yeah.
like, okay, you just realize. I think there's always gonna be problems. That's accepting that is, I think, is accepting.
So we've become accustomed to problems.
But
We accept conflict.
we accept that it's there.
Yeah.
Not that.
Not that
But
we
then
should
maybe
support
a little
it.
bit a problem on what kind of conflict it is before accepting with us. But we accept that it's there, and then dealing with it will come with what kind of conflict and which space you are in, and then that's gonna,
Yeah.
pretty much.
How you let it affect you also,
You know?
like how you let it affect you. But yeah.
So basically, if you understand you talking, there's no way of living in this world with no sense of conflict.
I feel like that would be living in a huge world without a map of where exactly you wanna go.
Without
a map.
a map. Why do you need a map?
To navigate, experience. Like I feel like even hence why even the people before, like back in the left, they drove. Like we were here. When they get here,
Yeah.
they need to know we were here. So I feel like it's okay to leave without a sense of a destination.
No, you can have destination.
yeah.
And after here, we have somewhere to go.
Yeah.
That's rational.
No, not literally, but
Yeah.
like being in the world without being like, I'm in the world, I'm here, that's it. I feel like you need to be like, okay, I'm in the world. I've got time. Let me navigate. Let me check out everything. Let me go
Let me
to
explore.
Z's corner.
Yeah.
And then through that, you find things that you like, things that you don't like, things that you don't know how, but it feels like they are a part of who you are because you connect with them so much.
Yeah.
For you, it might be what we're doing right now. It makes you feel complete. It's a part of who you are. Talking. It can literally be anything. Some people just watching, like sitting, and some people just being quiet. It's different for everyone.
Yeah, I get.
And then
I
once
get
you found that, that's where you get to at least escape from time.
Yeah. Okay, now good. Now it's already happening. Good. Let's say maybe this is what I like to do. Right? It's music. Maybe if I go to your studio, actually I'm very familiar with music. I know that word. Kind of put my hand in it. So maybe I would enjoy, you put me into your world and say, okay, yeah, this is what's happening, and it would be a blast for all of us. Your writing, maybe as I read what you wrote, I'm like, oh yeah, amazing. Now you're in my space. And I'm trying to say now, give it a try, in the sense that try to find out if there's a way to live with no sense of conflict, no sense of time. Not that time isn't there, it's there.
Yeah,
You know, we say everything is time. But literally know what creation is. Not creating an art piece. Witness creation itself without time, which means, you know, no beginning, no end. No, you move from that whole circle, that limited circle. You expand your mind to an extent where it sees what creation really is, which could be something completely, I don't know, extraordinary. You know, finding out that, okay, how does this whole thing come to be? Because you see, as long as you're under time, then to you, this happening is, you know, you meeting boss. We talked a few days ago. We're meeting. We'll go there. That whole continuity. Now, if you remove that, then perhaps it is possible to see creation as this moment here. You can see it right now. This is the only thing that has ever been. Like, there has never been anything else
Except
this moment here. There's nothing coming there. It's only this thing here. And what you're looking at here is everything. It means everything. So the whole world is literally in this room here, in this space.
This time.
Is that something too much? Is that something too much to take?
Not necessarily, because it's true. Everything else is a memory, and everything else is an illusion. The others, the things that are going to happen, or anything outside of, like, reality is your perception at the moment, your perception of self or space or whatever. So not to say that those other things don't exist. Of course they exist, but in other people's current realities at that point.
If you go out there, Kevin is out
Kevin is out there.
Yeah.
But right now, me, I don't see Kevin. I don't know Kevin. I don't see Kevin.
But you know him in your mind.
But I know him in my mind. Only because now you mentioned it.
Yeah.
And he was never there. But Kevin exists also because he knows he's there and we've seen him, and he, you know, he sees his surroundings, and that's his moment right now, his only existence right now.
Yeah.
So I think it's a graspable concept. It's just not one that we're used to, because we're so used to remembering and planning and knowing.
Because first of all, you're turning into a concept. Of course, if it's a concept, you can always twist it. You can say, yeah, this is right. You can also add some other thing on top. But I'm saying, don't look at it as a concept. Don't even imagine it. Find out if it's true or not, right? But finding out is finding out about yourself, which is really not hard work. I know it's very hard. You know, TikTok is much easier, right? We go there. It's cool that way, but it's limited because it's okay. Yeah, fine. It's nice, but I really don't see how you can compare it to this. To space itself, to time itself. To you, TikTok was made by this mind. So giving your whole mind to this small little thing is kind of a waste, isn't it? And it has to create other problems because it's limited. It's creating some kind of twisted society in a way. I'm not advocating against it, but it's creating that kind of society.
Consumer culture.
So maybe I'm thinking we don't really see how important this thing is because, as you said, we have a sense of peace here and so on. Does it take someone to drag you to, let's say, a war zone, like it's happening in some countries? Like my country, for instance, it's really happening. You know, people are killing themselves because you look different. They really say it's my country. Personally, I don't have a country. I don't associate myself with a country, a religion, a race, whatever. I know who I am. I know I'm different. I'm black, what's not. But I don't hate to say I am black. It's all too limited. even saying I'm human. Let's say we find aliens someday soon. I'm not gonna hear myself. I'm humans.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm inhuman. So maybe it takes one to be in a very complicated situation to see the immensity of life itself, to even question. You know, like let's say face death. If something happens to him right now and he dies, right? I don't wish it. I wish you many, many years. But if something happens to him, ultimately you have to question, like, what is death anyway? Not jump in a book and say, okay, death is when God calls you back, and then that's just, you know,
Yeah.
you have to question, what is death? What is it that dies? All right, I can see the body, but do I reincarnate somewhere? What is it that reincarnates? You know, and then you question, and then you get to the bottom of things. That's what these people have been doing. Unfortunately, they're shoving it up our mouth, you know,
Yeah.
like, this is it, this is it.
And if
Therefore,
you
they
don't
never-
take it, you're done.
Yeah, if you don't take it, you're done. And to be honest, if you don't take it, you're gonna die. I mean, if you're a true Christian, you really believe in that. You really believe there's a guy in fire somewhere waiting for you with some sticks and what. That thing is killing you.
Yeah.
But then again, you're fighting your own pleasures, your own pain. You know, you're going through all that. So you do one thing wrong, you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna burn in hell. You come back, you quickly pray, and then you do the same thing over and over. And then you teach it, please, I'm not.
No, I understand. I am laughing.
Then you teach it to your kids, which means, now look how monstrous time is. Nothing changes then, because you're passing it on, right? So what you're living here right now is what your kids will live, is what your grandkids will live, because it's the same thing that
My
people
parents.
4,000 years were living. So you see, we feel like there's a certain change happening, but nothing really is changing. Just so happens that maybe in this time,
We
this
have
period of
nicer
time,
things.
yeah, nicer things and whatever, but war will always be there, you know. Poverty was, yesterday I was walking in the street, I saw a lady with two babies, you know those ladies on the street, some of them use the kids to get some money.
Yeah.
And she just put the baby, not even on a cloth in the street, she just lay the kid there and begging for money, leaving the kid on the ground, quickly going by the robot to get money. Now, if I have money, I can maybe help that lady, but I won't be able to help the 10,000 other ladies. I won't buy food. So if you're sensitive to life itself, if you really, let's say you're religious, you say there's really something amazing, there's God, clearly that has to touch you. It has to do something to you.
Yeah.
And if you realize that I can't change the lives of all these people, then what can I do?
Do what you can right now.
But you know, it's not enough.
It's not enough. It will never be enough. No one person
No,
can
no,
do.
but that's what you think. You think it will never be enough.
No, but no one person can do everything for everybody who's in need.
Yeah, but one person is good enough.
But one person who does something for one person, that's good enough.
Yeah,
for,
it's good. That's what I
Yeah.
meant by that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You just
Yeah.
do what you can, and what you cannot, you pray about.
No, don't even think. Don't even think about what you cannot. So that's why I think that's why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I think, well, there's a, okay, I don't want to say, but I saw it and I understood it and I took it with me.
Yeah.
And it says the only way to help the poor is to make sure that you don't become poor.
Yeah.
And I feel like, yeah, that's, I mean, you already added out of the equation, you know, and yes, maybe in the future we'll be able to help someone out again. But the minute you take yourself out, because you can't give without having anything.
Exactly.
You can't give knowledge or
True.
money, whatever the situation may be. So I took it besides just like the poverty dilemma or so. If you can just give yourself or get to bring yourself into being in a place of having something, that's the only time you can actually be able to make a change.
Yeah.
True. That's
Yeah,
completely
that's,
makes
and then
sense.
that's just like, that's
Yeah.
it.
But you see now also That's good, but if you've created a society that is overly competitive, which means for you to be successful, you have to step on someone, because that's generally what businesses do. They're fighting each other in a way. There's a, okay. There's this never-ending conflict between, I have to make it,
That's also again I think another thing, because you don't need to fail for me to succeed.
Yeah, you
Facts.
don't need,
You
that's
understand?
normally that's how it should be.
Yes,
it's
but now
not
you
so.
see that once
Yeah.
you get the understanding of that, I feel like it even becomes bigger. Once you understand that,
Yeah.
we find ways to grow each other even. If we both in an understanding that I can be further from where I am. I mean, I'll make an example with Windows and
Yeah,
Mac. They like big companies, but I feel like there wouldn't be a need for Windows to be cancelled for
But
for
the
Mac to
people
exist.
ruling,
Yeah, exactly. Like it's not about destroying the other
a person,
business.
yeah.
Competition is good. I can
Yes.
do this.
Yeah.
So can I, but I can do better. So can I, but I can do better. It's fine,
Mm.
just as long as it's not like pushing the other one over and being like,
yeah.
no, don't succeed. It's just growing.
And matter of
know?
fact,
yeah,
that
no,
grows
that
even
sounds
more.
all great. But let's look at the society that we have, please. The people that are not eating, it's not that we don't have the food.
Yeah.
We actually have the
So
food.
we have the food.
We're throwing it away because we don't want to lose the value of our prices or whatever.
And stuff.
The people selling clothing, let's say Gucci, they burn their clothes because they can't sell it to anyone. It's going to lose its value.
You ban it.
Yes, they burn, when there's extra stock, they don't give it away, they burn it.
To a point where some companies in America they have policies. These policies are created like in their business plans, that even if something is like slightly like wrong stitch, it will not go to the poor. It will not go to anybody. Now there's people who now go out of their way to now go, what is it called, dumpster diving, where they go behind these factories, these places. They make careers out of it to go get food. Whether it's food, it's clothes or whatnot, or appliances that are still usable. But because these companies will not make money from this, they would rather have it thrown like that. So people go into these bins to get fresh food, all of these things that could be just given to the poor or the needy, or just be sold at a discounted price than what they would normally sell it at.
So, it's a bit twisted.
From
No,
a
look,
business side, I mean, if I'm having, okay, this is my company.
Yeah.
I just want to bring out nothing but the best.
Yeah.
I'm Gucci. I want to give out nothing but the best. I'd make sure that a stitch, it hurts me. I don't want nobody to have
Yeah, but-
my brand with the wrong
Yeah.
stitch. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to give it away.
Yeah.
So if it happens behind, doors, well, at least maybe banning it is me burning my brand because I don't want to give people a bad brand.
But what about those ones that don't have clothes? Are you okay with that, or you don't think about it?
No, I'm just actually commenting on that,
Oh,
like
yeah, yeah.
from a business side.
We can get the luxury clothing things. We can understand that because that's luxury.
Yeah.
You cannot have real Gucci, but it's not that Gucci.
No, but why
It's
do you
Gucci,
even
but
need
the
luxury?
Why do you need luxury?
Why do you need luxury?
Oak Creek Comfort, boss. I don't want to go live in a shack. I
No,
don't.
we don't. No one wants to live in a shack. No one wants to live.
I don't want a pep
In
t-shirt.
fact, no
I
one
want
would live in a
Gucci
shack.
t-shirt.
No one would live in a shack if our minds were orderly.
Yeah,
best.
that's
No one
true.
would.
That's
We
true.
want the
We
best.
can all help each other be at the right place. It's possible. It's
But-
just
but
not
why should
happening.
That's my point. That's why I'm
Why
doing
is it
what I'm
let me-
doing.
Yeah.
Okay, to say it's
But
not
why
happening,
cannot
it's something else.
Yeah.
Because this is more of I think something that you look inwards with.
Yeah.
With what do you do? I mean, to say, what did you do to make sure she doesn't eat? I don't know your reasons. And it could be something
No,
else.
no,
But when I look inward me,
Yeah.
then you know what you do. And
Yeah.
and
No, no, I'm
obviously
not-
you can't do it for everyone.
everybody.
You know?
Yeah, no, I get it, bro. Please, I wasn't trying to say that I'm doing better than others or what's not. My point is, me talking, having all these discussions, that I'm trying to show that our minds are not orderly, that there's no possible way that can stop until it is orderly. We might fix it, superficially, by helping each other,
Yeah.
giving money, what's not. But as long as a human mind doesn't understand itself, obviously anything that it will do, it's conflict. That's what I'm saying. I'm not
Okay, no, I
saying,
get you. I
Yeah.
get you.
so yeah, sure, I can help. I can give money. We can tell the Gucci, to throw whatever. But as long as the mind itself has not realized itself, then do what you like. You're wasting your time.
The unfortunate part is like that's a personal job for everyone.
And when a
Then it becomes a
society-
general thing.
It's literally a personal job because we cannot say okay, yes, we do our part where we can, but those ones who decided that I don't like the fact that these ones don't believe in what I believe in, and then they decided to do that, they are responsible for their decisions. And if the world is ever going to become better, there has to be something that changes their mind, or something where they can look at themselves like that, where they can be compassionate or empathetic or whatever, where everybody has to literally come to a place where we like just look at yourself so that you can be able to understand your relationship with other people, so that we can all be good and have like a very good, happy society, lovely stuff. But
I don't think. See, I've done a lot of inquiry into this thing. To be honest, I've gone all the way from the beginning to the end. I feel like not that I've given up hope, but having a society that has no conflict is impossible. First of all, apparently it's a drive it's almost as if we've taken a path that we have no way of coming back. Now, what one can do, however, and I don't want to say it's for sometimes I feel like maybe just for the few, because first, the poor won't listen. They're hungry, right? They say, okay, fine, give me food, I'll listen to you. They don't have that time. The rich people don't have that time. They're too busy thinking about the shares, right? The politicians will never do that. They live off that conflict, this political party versus this other one. These people, they create countries, which means as long as a country is there, we fight another one. It's inevitable. Now, who exactly can listen to this, let alone even try it? The old people, their mind is so conditioned that at the last second you want them to change the whole perspective. It's impossible. The young people, they just want to live, They want to experience life. This man is coming here with all this nonsense. I want to go to the beach and do all this. So perhaps it's for the very few people that can. First, they've really been conflicted position with themselves. They've had some sort of shock. Let's say if I can talk to someone, let's say, who just lost a parent, for example, he still has that terrible pain. That person really is in a position to find out what is this? What is the meaning of this whole thing anyway? Because reading a book about what happens that doesn't satisfy him. It's like, what is this thing? So it almost sounds as if it's for the very few people, the elite. But it's wrong. I just feel like it's completely wrong. It's saying this enormous thing is for the few. And then what are the few going to do about it? They can't change anything. They can't.
Yeah.
So it's one hell of a hell.
Yeah.
But anyway, I feel like as long as you have that, at least inquiry, you have that perspective, it's good to share with people. Not saying I know everything, but just saying this is what's happening. And then maybe someday, somewhere, somehow, something will happen in the person's head. And so that was my goal here as we're talking. Maybe it will do something to you. And if it does, then along the way also, you can help another human being see something. And that's good enough, you see.
Yeah.